Happy fall, book friends. We're here today to do the Finally Fall book tag. I saw that Leo from Books with Leo did this and I really wanted to try it. Last year I did the Cozy Fall book tag, which is another fall themed tag obviously, but the prompts are different. So I thought I would do this one instead of repeating the other one and just get us in the zone. I have been really bad at filming over the past few weeks. It's a combination of just like being busy with work, and also I have been filming, I just haven't been posting because I was filming my Oathbringer reading vlog, which will be up probably on Friday, fingers crossed. I did finish it last night, but those books, because they're so long, it's like 1,200 pages, and I was just only filming content for that book because I was only reading that book. But now that I have that out of the way, I'm ready to film my fall themed vlogs that I have planned, and I wanted to kick off the month with a tag video and get started with the fall stuff. Anyway, welcome back. Welcome if this is your first time. I'm Addie. This is Books and Tea Time, and we're gonna get into this video. So question number 1 is, in fall the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting. And for this one, I am going to choose The Bear and the Nightingale by Catherine Arden. It's the first book in the Winter Night trilogy. I listened to all 3 of these books on audio, I think 2 years ago in like the fall going into the winter. And it is the perfect time of year to read these books in like late fall, early winter, because the atmosphere is absolutely stunning and it's so vivid and real. And when you're also in a cold and crisp aired space, to me it just adds so much to the reading experience. But these books are historical fiction / fantasy and a coming of age type trilogy about a young girl named Vasya who's growing up in Russia, I think in like the 1400s or the 1500s maybe, and it's all about her being connected to nature and to a lot of magical or folklore type creatures that exist in her world. And her story throughout the 3 books is developing that connection and also protecting nature and protecting these magical beings from the threat of Christianity and being pushed out and sort of snuffed out by Christianity and this wave of people, of pastors and religious figures coming in and encouraging the people in Russia to shun that history and that part of their culture. Overall, I think the series is wonderful, and I do think that anybody who is into historical fiction or likes more subtle fantastical stories would really enjoy this. Question number 2 is, nature is beautiful but also dying. Name a book that is beautifully written but also deals with a heavy topic like loss or grief. And for this one, I am choosing a book that I recently gushed about in my Mythological Babes reading vlog, and that is The Girl and the Goddess, Poems and Stories of Divine Wisdom by Nikita Gill. It is perfection. This is one of my favorite books that I've read this year. It is a collection of poems and very, very short stories, and it is a fictional story about a young girl named Paro who's growing up in India during the partition, and her experience as an individual in India growing up during this time, and what that means for her, and the cultural things that she has to digest with partition and leaving her homeland when she was young and traveling to other places. But also there's a lot I will say there's a lot of content warnings for this, so definitely look it up. They're also listed in the front of the book, which I absolutely love. But it's heavy at some points, but it's also so enchanting and uplifting and empowering and spiritual and magical. It's such a wonderful text. I don't read a lot of poetry, but I absolutely fell head over heels for this writing style, for this author. I'm definitely going to read more by Nikita Gill in the future, and I cannot recommend that book enough. I definitely think the writing is exceptional, the poetry is exceptional, and overall the way that the poems weave together this narrative, this fictional narrative, in such a natural and expert way that is so it'll blow your mind. Question number 3 is, fall is back to school season. Share a nonfiction book that taught you something new. And I'm gonna choose a nonfiction book that I read this year. I read this a few months ago, I wanna say in like April maybe, and that is Minor Feelings by Kathy Park Hong. This is another collection of essays, not poems, but it is a collection of essays written by Kathy Park Hong, who is a poet. I learned so much from this, but I think specifically one of the things that I'm going to target as really wonderful about this is that because it is written by a poet and by an artist, I learned a lot about the pressure in academia, in the publishing industry, the pressure that is put on people of color, BIPOC folks writing stories, but specifically Asian folks, to present the Asian experience in a very monolithic and easy to swallow way in order to be taken well, or in order to be supported by publishing houses in the academic community. It was heartbreaking but also very informative to hear that from Kathy Park Hong's perspective, and to watch her use these essays to break down how that works and how that is perpetuated by other systems in our society, but also how she, through her own personal journey as a writer, as a creator, as an artist, has learned to subvert those expectations. And it was really wonderful. As someone who obviously just graduated and wants to write in the future, it's good to read about that and to be aware of it. Another thing though that I learned about this and that I really love about Kathy Park Hong's writing in this particular essay collection is that she brings in other Asian American folks and weaves their stories into it, so you also learn a lot about other people who Kathy Park Hong either admires or relates to, or feels need this space in her writing to come into the public eye and to be centered in that way. So I really love it, and it's short, it's an essay collection. It's really nice to just pick up, read one essay, set it down. If you are a person who doesn't like to binge read or likes to take things slow, especially when it comes to nonfiction, so I highly recommend. And I really loved annotating and just digesting Kathy Park Hong's writing. It was wonderful. Question number 4 is, in order to keep warm, it's good to spend some time with people we love. Name a fictional family, household, or friend group that you would like to be a part of. And I'm gonna choose one. This is a very recent discovery, but it's such a clear answer to me when I think about this question, and it popped into my head and I was like, yes, absolutely. And I would want to be a member of the Bergman family from the Bergman siblings love story series. That's not what it's called, but basically it's a series of romance novels that follow siblings in the Bergman family. The first book is Only When It's Us, the second one is Always Only You, the third one is Ever After Always, the fourth one is With You Forever. I believe there are going to be 7 because there are 7 siblings, and each book follows a different sibling and their love interest. I have read 3.5, but they are romance books. Most of them are sports romance books, although it's not super heavy. It's kind of just a backdrop of talking about and the characters being athletes or having been athletes in the past, but they are romance stories. They're slow burn, steamy, sweet, gut-wrenching, beautiful, emotional romance stories, and it follows these 7 siblings and their family, and I want to be part of their family so bad. They are Swedish American family. They're just like big outdoorsy people from the Pacific Northwest, and their family is just so positive and uplifting, and like their parents encourage, like there are 5 boys and 2 girls, and their parents encourage their boys to be emotional and in touch with their feelings and to defy toxic masculinity, despite the fact that they're all in the family athletes. And the stories are just great because they are so diverse. We have people with chronic illness represented, neurodiverse characters, and discussion of various different people on the autism spectrum and how they each deal with their own individual situation differently, but they also acknowledge the other people in their lives, and they're all just so loving, and they support each other through all of their various antics and their romance journeys. That's a long way of saying that I want to be an honorary Bergman or be born into that family. I don't care if I have to marry one of them. If I got to choose, I would probably pick Ren because he's a hockey player, and that just like, yeah, it really does it for me. As someone who loves hockey and grew up watching hockey, I'm just like, oh yes, absolutely. I'm gonna stop talking now about about that question and move on to question number 5, which is the colorful leaves are piling up on the ground. Show us a pile of fall colored spines. So one sec, let me grab them. So I have them here, and I gravitated obviously towards the traditional Halloween colors with this. Like, I have a lot of black and orange in here, some yellow, some goldish reddy kind of colors, and I'm just gonna fly through them real quick. But on the top there was Mad Woman in the Attic. I've read some of this, but not all of it. I do want to tackle this at some point over the winter. I have Mythology, Timeless Tales of Gods and Heroes, which my dad got me for my birthday a few years ago. This has a bunch of stories from, I think, Greek mythology, maybe also some Roman, and gorgeous illustrations. I think I've read like 1 or 2 stories, but I do eventually, again, want to read it. The Girl with All the Gifts, which obviously I've read, I've gushed about it. I think this is in my summer wrap-up, maybe. I'll have whatever wrap-up it's in linked up there. Really good dystopian post-apocalyptic zombie novel. I have The Martian by Andy Weir, which is really gorgeous fall colors. Have not read this, but I do want to. I have Things Fall Apart by Chinua Achebe. Read it a really long time ago, but it's on my reread list to tackle hopefully in the coming months. We Have Always Lived in the Castle by Shirley Jackson. Absolutely love this, one of my favorite. I've read some other Shirley Jackson, and this one is my favorite, but again, the orange and the atmosphere. If you're looking for a short book to read this fall that's a little creepy, a little gothic, this is absolutely up your alley. And then last but not least, I have Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. This stunning novel. Again, the atmosphere is there. Thriller, mystery vibes, dark academia-ish. Really like it. And then I also just wanted to show off my prized possession. Alexander gave this to me for Christmas or my birthday a few years ago. And that is this gorgeous illustrated copy of The Nightmare Before Christmas. It is, I mean, are we kidding? Look at this gem. It's stunning. I love it. I cannot get enough. I mean, look at this. I love it so much. Okay, question number 6 is fall is the perfect time for storytelling by the fireside. Share a book wherein someone is telling a story. And for this, it is the perfect moment to plug one of my favorite books of all time. It's the perfect book to read this year. It's the perfect book to read anytime. But that is Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This is the Penguin Classics Deluxe Edition. It is not a graphic novel. It's just like the front flaps are, and then like the text is on the inside. But I chose this because in it, it's kind of, it's a frame narrative, a lot of different perspectives telling stories. We have our main character who is writing letters to his sister telling his story about his interaction with Victor Frankenstein. Victor Frankenstein is telling him the story of his life, and within that, the creature tells Frankenstein the story of him when they are separated. There's a lot of storytelling going on in here. It's the perfect book for fall, the perfect book for Halloween time, and if you haven't read it already, you've got to do it. It's one of my favorite. I've read it like 4 or 5 times at this point, and I can't. It's so good. Number 7 is The Nights Are Getting Darker. Share a dark and creepy read. For this one, I'm going to choose the Southern Book Club's Guide to Seeing Vampires, probably. I don't read a lot of scary books. I'm kind of a baby. I'm branching out this fall. We're gonna read some Stephen King. We're gonna read some murder, mystery, thriller stuff. But for the most part, I'm kind of a baby, so I don't have a lot of recommendations for this. Like, I am not your horror gal, but I read the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. I have a whole vlog about it. But that book's creepy. And there's some really gross things that happen, and it's spooky. Definitely got my skin crawling and kept me up at night. So if you're kind of like me and you want a little bit but like tolerable spooky creepiness, I recommend that book, because it wasn't too bad, but it was definitely like kind of gross and like, what's going on here, this is disgusting. but not too bad, you know? This one is super sweet. Number 8 is The Days Are Getting Colder. Name a short, heartwarming read that could warm up somebody's cold and rainy day. And for this one, I am going to choose A Psalm for the Wild Built. I just read this. It is a short novella. It's a new book by Becky Chambers, and it is just such a happy, heartwarming book. And that's not to say that it isn't like deep in certain ways and a little sad at times, but it's just a really wonderful philosophical book that deals with the human condition in a really interesting way. It's like a sci-fi book, but it's about a monk, a tea monk, and a robot who go on a journey together and kind of bond over the question of like what human beings need. And it's really sweet and cute, and it put a smile on my face and made me really happy. So, and it's short, it's sweet, and I think that a lot of people would really like it. So check it out. I listened to the audio. Number 9 says, fall returns every year. Name one of your old favorites you'd like to revisit soon. And I know exactly what that is. Warbreaker by Brandon Sanderson. I'm obviously about to start Rhythm of War, which is the 4th book in Stormlight, and it's the last one out. So I'm gonna have to wait till 2023 for book 5, and it's gonna break my heart, but it's okay because I am going to reread Warbreaker to assuage my sadness and hopefully get me through these next several years. I'm gonna start here, reread Warbreaker in the physical, and just bask in the glory of it. It's one of my favorite fantasy novels, the first Brandon Sanderson I ever read. If you want to get into fantasy, if you want to get into Brandon Sanderson, this is where it's at. It's one of my favorites, and I want to reread it. I really do. So it's high up on my list. I know I'm going to revisit it soon. Question number 10 is, fall is the perfect time for cozy reading nights. Share your favorite cozy reading accessories. First and foremost, tea. I have to have a cup of tea. I love it. It's perfect. I just want to cuddle up under a blanket and read my book and have some nice warm beverage juices flowing through my system. That sounded really gross. Why did I say that? That was horrible. I'm a sucker for a good candle, and oh my god, do I have the best candle recommendation of the world of all time for you guys right now. I just bought this, I want to say like 3 days ago, and I've already burnt it all the way down to here, which is absurd. I know, I'm crazy, but oh my god. It is the Autumn Woods scent from Bath and Body Works. I don't know, I was just wandering around the store. I wanted a pumpkin scented one maybe, or something like that, and I smelled this and I immediately fell in love. It's amazing. So if you can and you want a candle, this is divine. It smells so good. Fragrance notes, according to the bottom, are dark walnut, English lavender. Oh, that's why I love it. It has lavender in it. Duh. White amber and natural essential oils, whatever that means. So yeah. So yeah, tea, a candle, a nice blanket, and fireplace sounds, because I don't have a fireplace, but I love playing the like YouTube fireplace noises. My family hates it, so I have to put it in headphones, but it's so atmospheric and I love it. So that completes this tag. Thanks so much for stopping by my channel. It says I'm supposed to tag people, but I'm just gonna say fall is for everybody. So if you're watching this video, you haven't done this tag, do it. I'm calling to you through the screen. Do this tag. Everyone, if you want to do this tag, do it. It's fun. No one tagged me. I did it. You know what I'm saying? It's just a tag video. It's atmospheric. It's fall time. I wanted to do it. If you want to do it, by all means. You don't need me to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Let me know in the comments below what your favorite fall time read is. Whether it's spooky, atmospheric, reminds you of the fall time, whatever it is. Just leave it in the comments, and if I haven't read it, I'll check it out. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if that's your jam, and I hope to see you in my next video. Happy reading, happy writing, and happy living. Bye!